Góðan daginn, gaman að sjá ykkur öll. Síðast vorum við með heimsókn frá Microsoft í Danmörku þar sem þeir voru að kynna fyrir okkur nýjungar í Microsoft eða í Axinu og CRM-inu. Í dag þá erum við með heimsókn frá Bretlandi. Það er maður sem heitir Michael Rogers og er að fara að kynna fyrir okkur kerfi sem heitir Formpipe sem er til þess að einfalda skýrslugerð, bæði gera skýrslurnar og dreifa þeim. En við ætlum að byrja á því að fá hérna einn úr húsi, hann Skúla Sæmundsson, hann ætlar að kynna fyrir okkur Power BI sem er líka mjög spennandi nýjung í skýrslugerðarmálum. En þegar hann kemur hann Michael á eftir að þá ætlum við að hafa smá hlé sem sagt svona inn í miðja fyrirlestra hjá honum. Þannig þið getið farið og fyllt á kaffi og fengið ykkur meira brauð og svoleiðis, en bara gjörðu svo vel. Gjörðu svo vel, Skúli. Já.
Flott. Góðan daginn, Skúli heiti ég og já, flott, takk. Góðan daginn, Skúli heiti ég og er ráðgjafi í stjórnenda upplýsingahópi hjá Advania og mér langar að fá að kynna aðeins fyrir ykkur bara Power BI og bara svona aðeins hvað sú lausn hefur upp á að bjóða. Við byrjum bara aðeins á því bara hvað Power BI. Power BI greiningatól frá Microsoft með áherslu á skýið og hugsað sem verkfæri fyrir almenna notenda innan fyrirtækja til að geta orðið dálítið sjálfstæðri í sinni greiningavinnu. Þar sem notandi getur þá byrjað að búa til sín mælaborð og skýrslur til að styðja við ákvörðunartöku í rekstrinum. Og til þess, í þessu tóli, þá notast Power BI við svona gagnvirkar greiningar og myndrænar framsetningar á gögnunum. Og Microsoft dálítið að svara þarna kalli frá markaðinum sem hefur verið svo að endannotendur getur orðið dálítið sjálfstæðri og staðið dálítið eigin fótum í þessum efnum og þetta bara dálítið trendi sem hefur verið síðustu ár. Það sem svona eignarhald á greiningum hefur verið að færast frá IT-fólki bara svona yfir til endanotendans. Í Power BI hægt að búa til einfaldar greiningar ofan á til dæmis Excel-skjöl og búa það til myndrænar framsetningar eða fara út í flóknari gagnamódel þar sem er verið að sækja gögn úr ólíkum gagnalindum og búa til flóknari módel. Það býður upp á fjölda tengimöguleika og má það nefna tengimöguleika við SQL Server og Excelin náttúrulega. Það er hægt að tengja sig við Oracle grunna og Google Analytics þjónustur, Facebook þjónustur og fleira og fleira og fleira. Bara rétt til sýningu hvað Power BI samanstendur af. Þetta eru 4 hlutar. Það er Power BI í skýinu, það er Power BI desktop, það er Power BI fyrir mobilinn og það er Power BI embedded. Power BI í skýinu er portal fyrir notendur þar sem hægt að fara inn í gegnum vafra og gera greiningar og mælaborð bara beint í vafranum og svo deila áfram efni innan fyrirtækisins. Power BI desktop er forrit sem hægt að sækja á powerbi.com og er frítt og þá hægt að ná í það forrit á vélina hjá sér og byrja að gera greiningar bara lokalt hjá sér á vélinni. Svo er það Power BI mobile og það er hægt að ná í app á snjalltæki og skoða greiningar, mælaborð og skýrslur þar og svo er til eitthvað sem heitir Power BI embedded og það er þá hugsað fyrir svona þróunaraðila sem er með vefsíður eða app og vilja nota greiningar eiginleika Power BI inn í appið sitt og veita síðan þriðja aðila aðgang þar inn. Ef ég segi ykkur aðeins frá Power BI desktop, bara til að byrja með, þá eins og ég segi þá er það ókeypis forrit sem er sótt á powerbi.com og hefur yfirleitt komið út með mánaðarlegum uppfærslum. Þetta er sótt þar og sett upp á vélinn hjá notandunum og inn í því er þetta að búa til gagnamódel þar sem að til dæmis hægt að sækja töflur og AX-gagnagrunni og vensla saman og búa til módelið. Þegar módelið er klárt þá er þetta að byrja að útfæra einhverja greiningar og í þessu tilfelli þá er einhver notandi byrjaður á einhverju sölugreiningu. Hann er búinn að velja inn 4 myndir sem hann sækir úr visualizations flipanum hægra megin og hann er með valið landakortið, þannig við sjáum hvað hann er búinn að velja inn á þá mynd. Hann er búinn að velja löndin, hann er búinn að velja hagnað eftir löndum og svo veita afslætti sem að gefa þá mismunandi litatilbrigði á löndin. Nú, það hérna hópur af visualization sem að fylgir Power BI Desktop, en svo hægt að fara inn á powerbi.com og sækja fleiri visualizations og eða fleiri myndir, og það alltaf verið að gefa út nýjar myndir mjög reglulega millibili. Aðeins Power BI Embedded, því að ég held að það kannski svona snerti þennan hóp ágætlega. Það sem sagt Power BI Embedded Azure þjónusta, og þarna sem sagt hægt að samtvinna Power BI skýrslur eins og búnar til í Power BI Desktop inn í mobile app eða vefsíðu, og sem sagt dæmi þetta notkun á slíkri virkni geti verið þjónustugátt hjá fyrirtæki fyrir viðskiptavin, þar sem hann getur farið inn í gegnum þessa þjónustugátt og þá skoðað sín viðskipti hjá fyrirtækinu á myndrænan og gagnvirkan hátt. Og við erum með sem sagt dæmi eitt slíkt verkefni sem við fengum að sýna aðeins frá, og þetta sem sagt verkefni sem unnið verið að vinna núna með Ölgerinni. Það styttist í að fara live og sem sagt birt með góða leiðir frá þeim. Hérna erum við með þjónustugátt fyrir viðskiptavin, þar sem að viðskiptavinur getur skráð sig inn án þess að vera eitthvað með neitt ákveðin, eða án þess að vera með Power BI notanda, heldur fær bara notanda frá Ölgerinni, og þá heldur sem sagt Ölgerin sem eigandi síðunar á svona Power BI Embedded áskrift, þar sem borgað í rauninni eftir heimsóknum á síðuna. Hérna á þessari mynd ég skráður inn sem sagt notandi frá Advania, og ég fæ þá bara gögn sem að tengjast Advania í andlitið, og hérna má til dæmis sjá, þegar ég komin hérna inn á þessa skýrslu, þetta bara einhver skýrsla sem Ölgeri leyfir mér að sjá. Hérna get ég séð sem sagt bara upphæðir, hvað ég er búinn að velja hérna árið 2016. Ég get séð upphæðir hérna eftir mánuðum, innkaupin með árið í fyrra sem þá svartasúlan. Svo get ég séð sem sagt í magni og lítrum. Ég get farið, ég get notað músina hérna. Ég get farið sem sagt, ef ég skoða hérna kleinuríkin hérna uppi að hægra megin, þá get ég séð vöruflokkana sem við erum að kaupa mest úr, og ef ég smelli á kaffi, þá kemur þetta gagnvirknin inn, þar sem að á sér stað það sem ég kalla cross-highlighting, þar sem að valin gögn verða þá dekkri á myndinni og heildar upphæðin þá sýnd sem aðeins ljósari. Núna ég þá bara að horfa á vöruflokkin kaffi og geta séð í töflunni hvaða vörur við höfum verið að kaupa. Ég get síðan haldið áfram, mér langar kannski að skoða einhverja vörur tengda málefni, og ég get þá smellt á málefni, og þá sé ég fljótu bragði að út frá vörunum hérna að við erum að kaupa rosalega mikið af pappamálum árið 2016, og svona heildar upphæðin í þessum málefnaflokki eitthvað í kringum 1 milljón. Þannig að þetta sem sagt, þetta bara rosalega skemmtileg leið og gagnlegar upplýsingar fyrir viðskiptavininn, og býr til virði fyrir viðskiptavininn að geta farið inn og skoða sín innkaup hjá fyrirtækjunum. Þessi skýrsla, hún búin til í þessu Power BI Desktop forriti sem ég sýndi áðan, og bara búin til af Ölgerinni, og við hjálpum síðan með Power BI Embedded hlutan. Á bakvið skýrsluna sem sagt lítill Azure gagnagrunnur og lifandi tenging við hann, þannig að þegar verið að smetla á hluti í skýrslunni þá send fyrirspurn á grunninn og gögnum skila tilbaka. Uppsetningin á þessu verkefni hefur verið cirka 2 vikur, og grunnurinn, það hægt að stækka hann og minnka eftir þörfum, en þessi grunnur á undir 5.000 íslenskar á mánuði. Svo sem sagt að mér minnir borga sem sagt Power BI Embedded áskriftin þannig að sem sagt fyrir hverjar 100 heimsóknir þá greiðir fyrirtæki $5. Já. Við gerðum sem sagt Ölgerðin sem sagt með lýsuna frá okkur sem vefumsjónarkerfi og sem sagt til að aðeins að auðvelda utanumhaldið, það er að segja hvernig skýrslunni komið upp í Azure, þá var ferli hjúpað inn í lýsunni, þannig að notandi getur þá bara fundið skrána á drifi á sér og komið inn fyrir á rétta staði Azure og er þá bara tilbúin á réttu svæði og tilbúin til notkunar. Og svo bara rétt aðeins aðeins bara okkar reynsla, okkar hópur stjórnendaupplýsingar hefur verið að hjálpa þó nokkrum fyrirtækjum af stað með Power BI og fleiri er að bætast í hópinn eftir því sem að fyrirtæki verið meðvitaðir þennan valkost og bara getu vörunar. Nú, við höfum verið að sjá grunnefnssendingar fyrir fyrirtæki og greiningar og verið þá að búa til skýrslur og mælaborð og gagnasett fyrir fyrirtæki og svo höfum við verið að kenna á verkfærin og svona hjálpa með bara svona the initial push að koma fyrirtækjum á stað og svo koma fyrirtæki oft til okkar og eru með spurningar þegar það er lögð í hann. Það vakna spurningar hvernig er hægt að búa til gott gagnamódel í Power BI. Það eru margar leiðir sem hægt er að fara. Hvernig er hægt að haga aðgangsstýringum og hvernig er hægt að koma við í veg fyrir að gögn tapist ef aðili hættir hjá fyrirtækinu og svo framvegis. Já, en þetta var það sem ég var með núna og bara endilega komið spurningar eða hafið einhverjar?
Já, ég er hugsa varandi aðgang, notendur starfsfólk af gögnum.
Já.
Segjum sem svo að fyrirtæki sé með NAV eða AX.
Já.
Það eru hlutir eins og fjárhagur, mannauður, innkaup og ýmislegt og þarna starfaðgreining og ábyrgðarsvið og hlutverk. Þannig að starfsfólk hefur mismunandi aðgengi að gögnum.
Já.
Ef þú tengir Power BI Desktop við þann gagnagrunn, getur þú aðgreint hvað sá starfsmaður með Power BI Desktop getur séð eða getur hann séð allt?
Ef þú myndir tengja við nafið, þá getur annarkvort farið ofan í grunninn og þá getur það verið svona admin notandi sem má þá sjá allt til að byrja með. Svo er hægt að setja inn í bara lausnina sjálfa svona row level security kallaða, þar sem er þá hægt að til dæmis aðgangsstýra niður á deildir, en aðgangsstýringar í nafinu eru ekki notaðar í Power BI-inu. Eða eru með teninga ofan á til dæmis vöruhús sem er að lesa upp úr nafkerfinu, þá er hægt að hafa aðgangsstýringar í teningunum líka, sem myndi þá bara koma beint í gegn inn í Power BI. Það er spurning hvort að svara því það sem að...
Svarið er raunin bara já.
Já.
Það er hægt að aðgreina aðgengi.
Já, þú getur búið til hlutverk og... Já. Einhverju fleiri? Annars verði ég bara frammi á eftir ef það hafi einhverju spurningar eða vilja ræða Power BI. Bara þakka yfir mig.
Þá er komið hann Mike eða Mikael Rogers. Hann ætlar að segja ykkur frá þessu kerfi sem heitir Formpipe Lasernet en hann ætlar nú bara að kynna sig sjálfur og sína reynslu og sitt fyrirtæki, þannig að við bara bíðum spennt eftir að heyra í honum.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. My name's Mike Rogers, as it says on the screen there. As you've probably guessed, I've got a little accent and I come from the UK. So firstly, thank you very much for inviting me here today. I come from a company called Formpipe LaserNet. And today I'm going to take you through a product called LaserNet that is our own product, where we're going to take a look at how we can simplify the whole creation and distribution of documents and data out of organizations. To give you a bit of an introduction as to who we are, as I say, we develop our own product called LaserNet. We've been around a few years now, since 1989 doing this. We have a number of solutions out there, around 2,500. Not all on AX, but the vast majority now are moving that way, thanks to Microsoft. We're part of a larger group called Formpipe. We're listed on the Swedish Stock Exchange as well. And we primarily deal through partners such as Advania, where we essentially deliver the solution and they can then take it forward and bring it out to yourselves. We have integrations with AX, which is primarily where I'm going to focus today. Not only from 2009, but 2012 and 365. I'm going to show you a few screens on that for those that haven't seen it, and so you can see it straight away today. But also we have integrations with NAV and SAP and Oracle. So essentially, as far as we're concerned, the actual ERP application doesn't make any difference. Okay, and you'll see some of that as we go through today. So I like to get straight into things. You're going to see a few slides and then we'll have a quick break and then I'll go on to actually show you the solution. So as I said, today we're going to concentrate on AX. So on the left-hand side there, we have our AX solution and then we have the LaserNet server. Just for the moment, just to let everybody know, we're completely based on Windows. So we run as a standard Windows service, can be run on-premise, can be run in the cloud, can run on Azure, can run on a hosted server, in wherever you want, wherever you like it to run. And inside the AX solution, we've actually built a bit of code. We've got our own AX developers in-house. They've developed an integration whereby we can, first of all, let's take what we've already done. So many of you will have used SSRS to design your current documents and to be able to get them out there. So we can use that standard setup to be able to, first of all, start getting some data out of AX. What we then do is convert that into a standard looking XML file, and then we can bring it into our solution, which makes the whole process a lot simpler. For those that are a little bit more technical, we can also take queries from inside AX as well. Okay, so we can run a query inside, completely remove SSRS, which has its advantages because we can speed things up. Okay, SSRS definitely slows down the production of documents. There's no question about that. Even Microsoft admit it. So from the point of view, we are actually able to remove that as well. We then have our own developer solution, which sits over the top of the server, and that allows us to actually then configure the solution, set up what we want, the boxes, lines, logos, the look and feel of the document, and is what you're going to see me playing around with in a little bit just after the break. And it's then the LaserNet server that does the distribution. So we've had years of experience working with printers and sending documents out to printers and knowing exactly how they work. That doesn't only include on-premise, that also includes in the cloud, where there is currently a big problem on how you get a printed document from the cloud to a printer that sits down here next to me. Okay, and we've solved that problem as well. So it's LaserNet that's doing the distribution out to email. If we're still using fax, it is up there because there are certain industries that still use it, but also distributing data. So we have many organizations now that don't only want to receive a PDF file, they actually also want to receive an XML file at the same time, so they can upload it into their system. They might want to receive an EDI file as well as the PDF file in two different ways. Maybe the EDI file gets FTP'd or sent via web services, or the PDF goes out via email. And again, LaserNet allows you to control that. And you'll see today what I'm going to be doing in just a moment is doing it all inside a drag and drop tool. I'm not going to write any lines of code whatsoever, and we'll see it running live. So we have the developer side, which sits on a PC, on somebody's PC somewhere in the organization, and the actual server, which sits there waiting for the data to come out of AX. couple of other things. A lot of people bring us on board. Where we come from, it's forms. Okay, it's things like statements, purchase orders, delivery notes, picking lists, all the usual documents that we generate on a day-to-day basis. As far as we're concerned, as long as there is a piece of data and something that needs producing a document, then the solution can be used for it. Okay. But also moving on to things such as marketing. So the ability to be able to add an extra PDF file with the email that goes out that allows you to advertise something, and being able to do that really simply and quickly. But on top of that, something a lot of people start using our solution for is because it's so easy to design and set up, we can start adding marketing material to the actual documents. So around Christmas time, we say Merry Christmas, and it only goes on the documents over a certain period of time, okay? Or we can add banners dependent on the actual data that's coming through. So depending on what they've purchased or what they're buying, add something else at the bottom that advertises another product that you're offering, okay? So that ability to really sort of transform how your documents and add value to what's going out. Down in the bottom left here, I even got asked the question yesterday, can we produce letters? Absolutely. It's a piece of data and it's a document. So those letters can be built dynamically and can be built up with all sorts of information inside them and triggered from inside AX. You could also have a letter as a covering page as well. So if you want that on the front and then the rest of the document behind, again, all as one PDF file going out to your customer or client, just kind of improves the look and feel of how you're sending your documents out. We also have our own archiving solution that stores documents inside AX. So we've built that so every time you generate a document, okay, that goes out to a customer or a supplier, at the same time, an exact copy of that is stored inside the archive. And the important thing to remember, the question again came up yesterday, it is a complete PDF file. Okay, with all the boxes, lines, logos, terms and conditions, data, absolutely everything inside that PDF file is stored. And the reason that's important is because for legal reasons. If in 6 to 12 months' time, I change my layout, I change my logo, my address, my terms, whatever it might be, what we don't want to do is that previous document to be changed. Okay, so it's a true and certifiable copy of the document that is stored. You can also open that up, and when you have customer queries or maybe somebody on the phone, you can very quickly say, yes, I can see the document that was sent to you. You could resend it to them, okay? Or simply view so you can have a good conversation and understand what's going on, okay? So those are stored at exactly the same time as the document is generated. The last one on there, this one seems to go in waves. I've been doing Lasernet now for over 16 years, okay? And I've also sat, as I said yesterday, on the side of Advania as well. So I've sold it as a partner, and I now work for the HQ. But the print houses sort of thing goes up in waves. All of a sudden, everybody wants to use an external printing company to print their documents, okay? And then all of a sudden, they bring it back in-house and buy some printers. But if you do use a print house, okay, if you do send your documents out because you've got a lot of them to print, Lasernet can take care of that as well, okay? What often happens is you will send an XML file or a data file to that print house. They will design your documents, they will make it look nice and however they feel it looks, and then use that to send out. You have to authorize it, check it, all of those things going backwards and forwards. Lasernet gives you the ability to handle that in-house. So you send them the final print file. So it looks like you want it to look, with all of the lines on the side for the folding and all of the barcodes and the codes on the document and everything like that to drive their printers afterwards. So Lasernet can give you complete control. And at this point, I'd like to mention, we're talking about a product that you haven't even seen yet, but to give you an idea, everything you're going to see just after this is actually only a couple of days training. Okay, so it takes us 2 days to train you on how to design, set up, configure the solution. And after that, you can go away and start designing your documents or whatever you need to send out. Why do people consider Lasernet? A lot of it is over time saving, okay? Certainly if you're upgrading, okay, it's a prime time to think about Lasernet. If you have a particular change that you need to make to documents data, if you have a customer or a supplier that is asking you to add one extra field to a document, or move a barcode, or move a word or something around on a document, the key to this is we're able to actually make that process very simple and quick. We offer some pre-configured reports with our solution. So it comes with things that you would use on an everyday basis, invoices, statements, sales confirmations. And they all work off the standard AX output and give you your template to start. You're going to see that in just a moment after the break. And also it's then, so when we're looking at developing new reports, developing new output, new documents, the time savings are incredible, as hopefully you're about to see in just a moment. The other area is down to distribution. Okay, we can distribute documents quickly and very simply at the same time out via a number of different methods. So it's not just printing. Okay, it's obviously our background, it's where we come from, but the ability to be able to send it via email, and equally to say I'm going to send out 10,000 statements, and I want 5,000 of those go out via email and 5,000 going out via print, and I need you to check the email address if that person wants to receive it or not via email, and when you email it, add an extra PDF file to it. So that type of logic is exactly where we come from, exactly what we can offer. On top of that, the ability to distribute via EDI, web services, FTP, as I said a moment ago. We also have SharePoint integration, so you can store documents in SharePoint as well, with our archiving solution in the background. I've mentioned the archive. The ability to resend those documents is really important. Okay, resend a copy of it. The only difference I would say between an archive document and a document that's gone out to a customer is a lot of people like to write archive copy on it. Okay, so they know it's not actually the original document that went out. Again, you've got the ability to be able to do that. Adding attachments to emails that go out of AX, and also replacing some third-party tools. I don't know if we've got anybody here today that produces labels, for instance, to stick on goods when actually they're going out. But Lasernet is capable of producing any type of barcode, and you're going to see these in a minute. We talked about QR codes yesterday. Everybody seems to want to produce QR codes at the moment. Okay, has anybody ever used a QR code? No, but everybody wants to produce them. Again, you can offer that, so you're looking and using the buzzwords of today, let's say. But we can replace quite often third-party tools for EDI, for label generation and things like that as well. Okay. So the demo that I'm actually going to show you today is going to be a live demo. We're going to take a run through of exactly what you're going to see. I like to do it the other way around, and I will do this after the break. I like to do it the other way around. So I like to say, what does an AX user actually do, okay, with our solution? What is it they see, okay? And then we take it backwards from there. So we then say, how do we set up the document that we've just seen on the screen in front of us? So how would we design it? And I'm actually going to take you through the steps of designing a document, okay, in the space of half an hour, I think, that I've got to do it, all right? And then after that, we'll also look at how the admin side of it works inside AX. It's not going to be too technical, but it's just to give you a flavor of some of the simple things that we can do inside AX to make it really easy to process these documents. So I'm going to say, is that okay? We'll take a break now. Yeah, we'll take a quick break. Everybody can grab another coffee, whatever it might be, go to the toilet. And then after that, I'll be showing you a live demo of what we can actually do. Okay, thank you.
Arms around me, we stare into each other's eyes, and what we see is no surprise.
Is there any way of changing the resolution on this?
Ain't nobody loves me better. Makes me happy, makes me feel this way. Ain't nobody loves me better than you. Ain't nobody loves me better. Makes me happy, makes me feel this way. Ain't nobody loves me better than you. Loves me better than you.
Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this and see what's behind. Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying. But I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Take a look in the mirror. What do you see? Do you see it clearer, or are you deceived in what you believe? 'Cause I'm only human after all, and you're only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Oh, some people got the real problems. Some people out of love. Some people think I can solve them. But Lord heavens above, I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me. Don't ask my opinion, don't ask me to lie. And beg for forgiveness for making you cry. For making you cry. 'Cause I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put the blame on me. Oh, some people got the real problem. Some people out of love. Some people think I can solve them. Lord heavens above, I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me. I'm only human. I made mistakes. I'm only human. It's all it takes to put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me. I'm no prophet or Messiah. You should go looking somewhere higher. I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me. I'm only human, I do what I can. I'm just a man, I do what I can. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put your blame on me.
I've been roaming around, always looking down at all I see. Painted faces fill the places I can't reach. You know that I can use somebody. You know that I can use somebody. Someone like you and all you know and how you speak. Countless levels under cover of the street. You know that I can use somebody. You know that I can use somebody. Someone like you. know there's someone like me. Someone like me. Someone like me. I've been roaming around, always looking down at all I see.
Halló, er ekki allir búin að fá sér áfyllingu á kaffið og svona? Þá ætlum við að fara að byrja aftur og hafa demóið hjá honum Mike.
Okay. So now we come to the bit that I think people are probably more interested in than slides. So we're going to take a look at a live demo of how the actual solution works. And we're going to take it end to end. As I said, the first thing we're going to do is look at a user, then we'll go to how we design a document, and finally we'll take a little bit of a look at the admin side of things as well. Today I'm going to be using 2012, AX 2012, to actually drive the demonstration. As I mentioned earlier, I will bring up 365 for operations. Everything that you're about to see now is available in 365 for operations today. Okay, we've already done it, we've already got it, we're up and running. We have 5 customers currently running our solution with 365 for operations. Okay. We also have exactly the same available in 2009 as well. Okay, so it's across all of the different solutions, all of the different setups. So today we're going to be taking a look, taking you through how a sales confirmation actually works with inside here, but it's the same for any other document that you might generate out of your AX solution. So we're going to go into our sales orders, and everything up until now is exactly the same. I want to generate this particular sales confirmation, and again, everything is exactly the same until this screen pops up. So inside here, you can see we've got 2 new functions. Now, obviously, we can hide and change the name. I'd like it to still say LaserNet, obviously, as a sales guy, but you can change the name of it if you like. We've got 2 options at the top there, LaserNet Screen and LaserNet itself. The LaserNet Screen, that will give you a preview of the document before you send it out to the customer or supplier. So it will dynamically go and generate that document through LaserNet and bring it back and put it on the screen in front of you. So let's just take a look at how that looks, because it is slightly different to what you might have today. So away I go, it's going to generate the document, away it goes and brings it back on the screen. Now there's some differences you'll see here if you're using standard SSRS inside AX at the moment. This is a very, very basic document. I'm not hiding that. Okay, it looks very basic, and this is one of our templates that we give you as part of the solution. The reason it's so basic is every single one of you is going to want to change it. You're all going to want to change it and develop it in any way you like. Okay, I'll show you some more fancy forms in a little while. But this gives you the basics of how to actually set it up and end to end. The differences you'll start seeing here is what we're showing on the screen is an exact copy of the document. And I always scroll down to this bit here, which may not seem that interesting, but it actually shows you the page break. It shows you exactly how the document is going to be sent out to the customer. Whereas at the moment, with what you're probably viewing, it's one great big long document, and you don't know exactly what the paging is going to look like. So if you had some marketing or some information at the bottom of the page, you don't see it at the moment. Again, we go all the way down to the bottom, and we can see our totals at the bottom there. They're on the last page. They're not on every page. They're also not floating around up here somewhere either, okay? Some of the little things that we start adding value to documents when we're actually generating them, okay? So from a user's point of view, apart from the word LaserNet, they don't know we actually exist in the background. They do the same process as they are doing today, okay? We saw some other options in there, so let's just go back into here. So the other options that we actually have under this LaserNet is inside here. If I do the little drop down, I can decide how I want to okay, 365 is talking to me. It's obviously not happy with me presenting 2012. So inside here we can see that there's a number of different options that I get to be able to send this document to a customer or supplier. The first one at the top there is very simple. I can print it, and then I can select the actual printer of where it needs to go to. I've just got one in here for the moment. But I can have my printers listed in there, and it's then LaserNet, remember, that will send it to the printer. We are also able to control the printer itself. So everything inside the printers that you have today, we are not dependent on a particular supplier. Okay, could be HP, Kyocera, whatever it is you've got. Could even be the old green stripe matrix printers if you're using those. Any type of printer we can generate a document to. And we also use the drivers of those printers. Okay, so if you've got bins in them and want to pull different colored paper from different bins, if you want to be able to duplex documents, if you want to be able to staple documents, all of these functions inside your printers that many people don't use, you can. Okay, you can use the drivers inside our solution to be able to generate your documents in any way you want across these printers. Other options I have is the ability to be able to email. So the to address in there can be pulled in automatically. And I'll show you the different ways that we can pull the address in, because that's something really quite important and obviously a question I get quite a lot. But I will show you that in just a moment when we go into the admin side of the solution. Equally, I could type an address in there if I want to. The subject line and the main body you'll see has got some % signs in it. Very, very simple thing I've set up here. Those % signs are variables. So it will fill those in automatically as it generates the document or the email as it goes out. Okay, so it will fill in the name, it will fill in the order number, it will fill in the date, it will fill in those types of things based on the variables, okay, that are set in there. And then out that email will go to the particular customer or client. Again, we have options for fax. There's some custom things we can do, but the last one I want to get to is this predefined destinations. So what this allows me to do is, as a user, I actually don't know how this customer or supplier receives their document. I don't know how they want it. But in the back of the system, we've ticked a box that says they receive it via email, or they receive it via fax, or they like it to be printed, or both. It could be both. Some people like an email and a printed as well. So I can select this option here, and in the background, inside the LaserNet connector inside AX, I can actually configure the logic that says, if this customer has got the checkbox next to their name, then email it and find the email address here. If they don't have that, then print it. Okay, and print it to this printer over here, and then it gets enveloped and stamped and sent out wherever it needs to go. So we've built the logic inside AX to do that, and I will show you that. That's the final part of the demo when we get into the admin side. So even the users don't need to know how to use the system in the background. Okay. I am actually happy to take questions as we're going along. I haven't said that, but if there are questions, please shout at me as we're going along. Not a problem at all. So if I'm a user of the solution, I don't actually know LaserNet exists in the background. I can generate documents any way I like, send them out. We can also limit that, don't worry. We can limit what people do. We can say whether they can actually send it out via email or not. Equally, at the same time, remember I said every document is archived. When it's archived, it's also archived with the method of delivery. So if it was sent via email, it will have that information associated to the archived document to say it went to this person, this was the subject line, the main body, blah, 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 etc. The other thing on the email as well is that we can actually tailor the reply address. So what happens when the customer or supplier clicks on reply? Where does it go back to? And you can tailor that either based on the actual document itself, okay, or the particular customer. So you could send it back to a certain person if you're sending to a certain customer. Many different ways of tailoring how that document gets back into your organization. So that's a user. Very simple. That's what they would look at all day. Now this is the LaserNet solution. What I'm going to be showing you here, if I go back to my earlier slides, you saw me mention about a developer. This is our developer tool. As I said, 2 days to train you how to use this, and afterwards you're going to be able to go away and design and develop all your documents yourself. Built around a number of things. It's very Windowsy, as you can see. I have some tabs down here on the left-hand side. I'm going to click on some of them today. Obviously, I'm limited by time as to how much I can do. But you'll see some of the areas down here. The first one I've clicked on is something called modules. Now, the reason that's important is because this is the flow of data through our software. I'm just going to very briefly explain. On the left-hand side here, we have inputs into our software. An input into our software, LaserNet, is an output from an application. Now, you can not only take the output from AX, but you could take the output from any other system in your organization at the same time. We have customers who have 7 different ERP systems across their organization, and they're taking output from those 7 different ERP systems in different ways into the LaserNet solution because they want to generate all the documents and make them look the same with the same logo, branding, color, look, font, etc. Okay, so it's not only limited to one application. And we have a number of different ways of getting information into our solution here. We can even monitor Dropbox. We can take files in folders. We can monitor SMTP Gateway Exchange Server, We can monitor the folders on there and pick an email up, process it, do something with it. You'll see the Azure stuff at the top here. That's for all the 365 things, so we can take it off a service bus for those that are technically, off the actual Azure queues themselves. So we have, and here's the old way of doing it. Say I've been around a little while doing this. Old systems, old legacy systems actually think that we're a printer. So old legacy systems, they would print to a printer, a laser printer over here, and we sit in the middle. So they think that we're a printer. So lots of different ways of getting data into our system. From AX, we actually use web services. Okay, so we post a web and act as a web server. In the middle, I have my engines. Okay, so the most important one is probably this forms engine. It's where the magic happens. It's where we add all the boxes, lines, and transform the data into a nice looking document. Relates this little tab down here that I'll click on in just a moment. But here also we're converting to PDF and lots of other things. And finally, we end up on some kind of output. Okay, so we can output to many, many different ways. Again, if I click here, you'll see all the different ways we can output from our solution. So we connect to the SMTP gateway. We simply type in the address. We do all the conversation with the SMTP gateway, make sure it's there, and send the actual email itself. So it's very much a drag and drop, wizard driven, as you will see in just a moment. So inputs, engines, outputs. I said this was the most important one. Let's click on the forms. So this is my list of forms. Again, as you will see, very basic forms. These are all the forms you get with our solution, okay? Already built to work with the standard SSRS output from AX. So from here, I can very quickly start printing a document and then start manipulating it. To be able to view a particular document, I double click on it. Now, I'm just going to go through a few elements inside here to show you how easy this is to do. On the left-hand side, I mentioned in my slides that we generate a standard XML file. That's what this is on the left-hand side here coming out of the system, and you'll see it's been colored in. So it's not my 7-year-old that's been coloring it in. We use the different colors to represent different things inside what we're doing. On the right-hand side, I have my final document, so I can see exactly what it's going to look like when it goes out to the particular customer. So how do I build a document? The first thing I have to think about is the fixed areas on a document. Things like logos, boxes, lines, terms and conditions, footer information, those types of things. How do we design those? Well, we design those in any Windows package you like. Okay, so you can actually design the boxes, lines, logos in Publisher, InDesign, CorelDRAW if you've got it, PowerPoint, whatever you decide, however you want to do it. And the reason that's important is because that area there can be given out to another department. Marketing quite often like to get involved because it's about branding. Okay, it's about getting the color right, it's about getting the logo right, in the right place, etc., etc. Okay, so let's bring in let's say we want to update this with a new logo. Okay, I want to update this form with a new logo. I've designed it in Word today, and the reason is because everybody knows Word. It's a lot easier. I would recommend Publisher or some graphical program. The only thing I have to do in order to be able to get this into the actual solution is to print to a special printer that is installed when you install the software. So if I click on print now, it won't do anything on the screen. If I go back into the solution, on the right-hand side, these files, these sort of boxes and lines are called overlay files. And they're built up of different layers. So if you imagine the logo is one layer, the boxes and lines are another layer, the footer is another layer, and you put them all together, you get your final document. It means you can use your logo on every single document. Same place, same look, same feel, every time. It also means if you change your logo, you might do, then it changes in one place, and it will change all of your forms. So let's now bring in my new logo. I click on Import. You'll see it listed there. I can bring it in, I give it a particular name, and I apply it to the actual page and click OK. So there you can see I've now updated this with a new logo in there. Okay, to put any graphical element onto a document, that's how easy it is. So it could be done by somebody else and brought into somebody who's been trained on the LaserNet. The next area, once I've done that, is to start bringing in some of the fixed areas, so some of the data that I want to bring across. Any form, there are two areas. Fixed areas at the top, so addresses, names, numbers, those types of things, and then the line items. So how many lines down the page do I actually need to go on the document? So the first area is very simple. If I take this and delete it out, okay, the data's here on the left. I click on the relevant icon, I highlight the area, it appears on the right-hand side, and now I've got complete control over where I want that address field to appear on the page. I can also put it in bold and italics and start formatting it in any Windows way you think possible. Now that process there, okay, is very simple for me to demonstrate and show, and it's very simple, and I hope you can see it's very easy to do as well. That process there, when you're looking at SSRS and other coding packages, means lines of codes and all sorts of things. Okay, so it's very, very simple to really now start getting our data and documents together. It's the same process there for all of these areas over here on the right-hand side, so for the fixed areas that I want to appear on a page. The harder part that everybody seems to ask about is these lines here. How do we get it so it could be one line, could be 500 lines long. We don't know, okay, how many lines are on each document. What we actually do inside the solution is you'll see these green lines here. We look for patterns. Okay, so we look for particular tags. Now you can see the word detail there. And you'll see it repeats itself as it goes down the page. Detail, detail, detail. So that to us is a pattern. Okay? And so if it matches 1, it will take 1 line. If it matches 500, it will take 500 lines. I have the same process. If I delete that area out and click on the same button and highlight the area, you will see it picks up all the other lines below with that same pattern, and I now drag and drop that into place as well. Okay? So that's bringing in all of those lines very quickly and simply. You'll also notice on this page there's no totals at the bottom. That's because we have something here called first, middle and last. So what the software actually does is if I go to the single page, you'll see here it's trying to fit the information onto this page with totals, and it's doing that by dotted lines. Now it can't fit that because it's worked out there's far too many lines for a single page. So it can't fit it between those dotted lines. So it's now put it onto a first page and a last page where we have our totals. So again, just tailoring those documents, make them look a little bit better and make the corporate branding look a bit more functional and usable for people as well. Okay, when you're actually getting the document, how do you actually look at it? Making it nice and easy for people to visualize that information you're trying to send to them. So within the space of, what is it? I think I've been there 15 minutes now since we started. I've actually pretty much shown you how you would design a document. I've done your logos, boxes, lines, those types of things. I've mapped in some fixed data, the address lines and the information at the top. And I've mapped in some variable areas. Yes, it will take a little bit longer than that, but it's the same process for any document that you want to design. Exactly the same process. Yeah? Any questions so far? No? Okay. So from the point of view of showing you a simple document, this is what would then go out to the customer. And the good thing is when I'm designing it, I'm seeing what exactly would be produced. I don't have to then print it and check it and all of those kind of things. I'm actually seeing physically on the screen what it is that would go out to the customer or client. Okay. So that was my simple document that we saw inside there. That's how I would design any of these documents that you can see there across the page. What I'm going to go on to show you now is some slightly different forms, okay? And maybe ones that are a bit more colourful, got a few more things in them, and sort of showing you some other examples of things that we can actually do with the solution. So this document here looks pretty much the same as you saw just before. You'll also see some extra, we can pull in, if there's extra lines on a particular field, it automatically pushes the lines down and makes that so it's all available. So again, it really doesn't matter what your data looks like. But here again, this is what will be sent out. But what we can actually do is if I click down here on the left-hand side, we also have a notion of sheets down here, a bit like in Excel. And what I can do is I can also then not only send out a PDF file to the customer, but I can send out an XML file to the customer as well. Okay, so they can then upload that into their solution. So here on the right-hand side, I've got my XML file that's being generated. And it's exactly the same process as before. If I highlight a piece of area, I can drag and drop it onto the right-hand side and put it into a particular tag in the XML, and that's what goes out afterwards. So exactly the same tool, exactly the same process, allows me to generate XML files now. And what I would expect is that you would get from your customers or your suppliers a particular layout, template, schema from them. You can then import that into our solution and then start mapping the data across. So you're actually creating their XML file for them, which is quite a nice touch, I think. So it really is a simple, I haven't done any coding whatsoever, and I'm a sales guy, right? I haven't done any coding whatsoever just yet to be able to generate these different types of layouts and formats, okay? Equally, with the line items, it would do exactly the same as it did before. It would generate the number of tags on the right-hand side. You'll see there the green mark again. It will create dynamically the XML based on the data that's on the left-hand side. So it will create a longer XML, obviously, if there's more data coming through. Okay? And don't worry, whilst these might not look like XML files, they are XML. We just have ways of making it so visually it doesn't look so much text on the actual screen itself. Okay? There we are. The other areas I can do at the same time is EDI. So we have a lot. I mean, I think in the UK, EDI is becoming more popular all of a sudden. I don't know if it's the same over here, but suddenly I'm hearing more and more about EDI as I'm walking around. As I say, these things go like this. EDI, being able to send out an electronic data format, we basically create an XML file first of all. So you'll see here an XML file that's being created. If I go down to the template, anybody that knows EDI as a message, essentially we then convert that XML into the EDI message. That's Edifact on the screen for anybody that wants to know. And so we can actually generate that file format and send that out, okay, to the customer or supplier. Equally, if we're receiving EDI messages, Lasernet is able to convert that on the left-hand side into a piece of data that you can then map into a form. You could map into another piece of data. So we can not only generate an EDI message and send it out, we can receive an EDI message in and transform it into something else. That something else being whatever you decide. Yeah. So it's not just about documents. It's not just about generating invoices and statements. Equally, there's CSV files as well. The document can be generated as a CSV file. Again, we create an XML file and then convert that into CSV. It's just such an easier process. So you can see there all the lines going out as a CSV file. We also have people using our solution internally. So they might not just use it externally to send out documents and data externally. Transformation between different systems. Being able to pass data between different systems. As I generate an invoice, an XML file or CSV file gets produced and sent to another system over here that I've had for years where I still need to store some information, for instance. So it can be used internally as well as externally. So lots of different data formats that we can generate there. The other area that we've implemented also is the ability to be able to generate HTML. Okay, we see a lot these days. This is just showing it in a web page for demo purposes, but we're seeing a lot these days where people are actually integrating the data inside the email rather than sending it as a PDF attachment. You can do both. You can integrate the whole data inside the email if you want to, and put all sorts of HTML, logos, advertising, whatever it might be, change the colors, fonts, do all the usual stuff you'd expect to be able to do, and send that out as an email to your customers and suppliers, and attach the PDF file of that at the same time as well if you want to.
Maybe one question.
Yes?
On the previous screen you were showing UBL2.
Yep.
This could well be PI04.
Absolutely, absolutely. We show that. We have a Danish office, so that's the demo that has been created, and that's what they show. But it could be anything. You're absolutely right. It makes no difference to say for us. It's data and a schema and a template. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. We can also produce charts as well on documents. Maybe not as good as the BI ones that I saw a moment ago where we can drill down and dynamically do that. But we can certainly produce bar charts, pie charts, scatter, line, all the usual charts that you would expect to be producing on a particular document. The last area really that a lot of people ask me about is barcoding. Being able to produce a barcode on a document. So from a LaserNet point of view, a barcode is a font. That's all it is, same as Arial is. All right, it's just a font. And all we're doing is converting a piece of data into a particular font. All right. So to add a barcode to a document, we've got another button here on the left-hand side, and I can click on a piece of data. It appears on the right-hand side. If I double-click on that, we can see here we've got a number of different standard barcodes that we could generate. I talked about QR codes earlier. There we go, that's converted that particular piece of data there into a QR code. It's as simple as that, okay? As I say, everybody's talking about QR codes, that's why I show it. The other area also is that's just one piece of data at the moment. You can add whatever you like, so you can merge multiple pieces of data into one QR code. You can add fixed text into a not just a QR code, but a barcode. So for instance, if you wanted that to be a web address, that's what quite a lot of people are using them for these days. Could be a fixed bit of text for your web address, but could be a dynamic one. So the other thing that's happening quite a lot we're seeing is that whilst I might send out a document or something to a customer, I'm also sending a link to the document in an archive via my portal so people can see it. That link gets generated dynamically, so we can put that in the email, and we could also put a QR code just to, say we're modern and we're up there with the technology, and that's generated dynamically as well. Okay, so barcodes are quite often used in the print houses that I mentioned at the beginning there. They're quite obviously used on labels, but the other area they're used for is scanning. If anybody's generating documents to be scanned or anything like that, you can quite often use barcodes very cleverly for scanning. Okay, and you can add different things into the barcode so you tell the scanning software what's going on. So all sorts of ways that barcodes are actually used. This demo here has been around for years. I've been, doing this particular demonstration. I don't know why we chose fish, but I think it's quite apt here. All this is really showing is the ability, you will see on documents that maybe you get or maybe that you generate, a picture next to the actual item that you've ordered or the item that you've received on a document. Again, this is purely an image in a folder, in a database somewhere. And at the time of generating it, we're going away looking at this bit of data to a folder, to a database, to wherever it might be. We can call it via web services as well. And actually bringing that image back and putting it on the particular document ready to go out to the customer or supplier. So again, we're really sort of taking it from what is a basic bit of data, an address and some lines, to whatever it is you actually want to be able to produce. Any more questions? No? I'm actually going through this rather quickly. I hope it's okay. So from LaserNet's point of view, as I said, data, document, we can produce anything, barcodes, graphs, HTML, XML, CSVs, any type of bit of data or document. And that's really what I was going to show you inside the LaserNet solution today. Please, yes.
In the beginning, you showed a connection to Microsoft Dynamics Axe.
Yep.
You're really not limited to that.
Absolutely not.
You have some hooks in there.
Yeah.
You could do it to Microsoft Dynamics Nav.
So we have a deep integration with AX, okay, and you're going to see some more of that in just a moment, okay. We have an integration, the same sort of integration into Nav as well, okay, and the thing is you're using the same tools that you're seeing here, whether it's AX or Nav, it's the same tools. So even in Nav, you can generate any type of document you want in any way. But you're absolutely right. If we go back and we look at this, we can actually take anything from anywhere, any bit of data that could come into the solution. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We have, we've just recently signed a couple of SAP customers, primarily because they want to be able to take the RDI output very simply and quickly. So yeah, absolutely right. Mm-hmm. And old legacy systems. Databases. We can also go away and do calls to databases. So if you're generating a piece of data from an application, okay, that comes into our solution, and not all the information is in there, but some of it is held over here in another database, we can go away, call that bit of information, bring it back, and either do something with it, I make it so that it tells us what to do, or we can put it on the actual document itself. It doesn't have to be an image, could be a piece of data, could be anything. Equally, if you're storing scanned documents anywhere, when you generate a document, you can actually go away, pick up all of those scanned documents. We're just opening up in Chicago where checks are still very alive. Okay, and so they like to be able to generate the document and get a copy of all of the checks that are associated to that document. It's a little thing that they have over there. So yeah, absolutely right. You can take it from any document. I mean, as you can tell, I could talk all day about this, but so from a LaserNet point of view, 2 days training. Hopefully, you can see how easy that is to do. So a couple of things just to finish off. The first one is, yes, we have a deep integration into AX. So this is completely built inside AX. It's not just a little bolt-on on the side that happens to take a bit of data. This is our configuration of it. I'm not going to go into too much detail today, but there are a couple of things I want to point out. So you will see there a list of all of the reports inside AX that are using LaserNet, or LaserNet is using. You don't have to use it for every report. So you can build it up as you go along. Okay, you suddenly turn a report, make it into LaserNet. The next document that goes through will go out via LaserNet. So it's up to you how you actually implement and move this forward. But you'll see there are all the ones in my system that are being used for LaserNet. Our sales confirmation is here. And if I scroll down a bit, you will see here some configuration for things like the email. And I mentioned the email address of where things need to go to. Again, today I'm not going to go into too much detail. But you can see there we can pull it from a number of different areas. And if all else fails, the one at the bottom usually works from code. So we can pull it from all sorts of different areas to make sure we get the right email address that this needs to go to. The other thing I'd say is if you haven't got all the email addresses of all your customers and suppliers, you can actually use the solution to get them. If you send out your invoice via print, so you actually physically print an invoice to a customer, and you would like to know their email address, why not put at the bottom of every document that gets printed, if you'd like to receive this via email, please send an email to, and put in your email address. You will then start getting the email addresses of your customers and your suppliers, but only on the documents that are printed. When that goes out via email, obviously we don't put that bit on the bottom. So there's all sorts of different ways you can use the solution as well. And then you can actually bring it in, so you can say, right, how do I want to send, or what address do I want to send it to? Again, the percentages in here are all configurable. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you can see there we're pulling from different tables, different fields to actually fill in the information that goes out via email. There were two other areas that I mentioned about. One is the destinations. So you'll remember I said about using predefined destinations right at the very, very beginning. Okay, this is where we build the logic. So at the top there you can see it's doing a query on the end there to find out whether this particular document needs to go out via email. That's up to you how you configure it. You could have 4, 5, 10, 20 conditions in here to decide how a customer receives a document. And you simply build them up as you're going along. And if all else fails, for instance, the last one on mine is print. So it will print out the document. So a document will always go out. But it just depends on how you're actually defining where the logic comes from. And again, you can configure all the email address, etc. inside there as well. One area that is maybe a little bit more technical, but it is important, is we quite often get asked, or maybe you do as well, I need an extra field on the invoice. I need it to say this. I need this customer to have this extra field. Those types of things. Quite often you have to go back inside AX, change the SSRS report, do all sorts of funky things, and then it comes out at the end. Okay? What we've actually done here is we've taken in the SSRS report. So this is my sales confirmation. You will see here the word detail that we remember before from when I did the mapping of the data. If I click on that, you'll see those were all the fields that it brought in from the SSRS report. Those were the fields we saw just a moment ago. Okay? What I can do is if I want to add a new field, I don't have to go back, and I'm going to call this one Mike, so I can find it. But then what I can do is I can go through and actually select where I want the information to come from, just as you would expect me to be able to. And essentially now, that piece of data will be added to the file that comes out, and I can then put that in LaserNet and map it just as I did before. It will be called Mike at this stage, so you can change the name of that. But essentially now I can see very quickly that that one's also in yellow. And the reason behind that is we can see all of the fields that have been added over and above the original SSRS report. If I click close now, it will pop up with a little message saying it's been updated, and I can close that, and that's it. The next bit of data will now have that field included. No recompiling, no nothing. Okay? So to add extra fields, it's very quick, very simple, and I can do it, so I'm pretty much sure anyone can do it. Yeah. From an admin side, there's an awful lot more in there. Okay, but I'm not going to go into it today. Again, if people want extra, more detailed demos, no problems whatsoever. There is one last area I just want to show just to prove that we are there and we are ready and we can move forward. Okay, 365 for operations, not hiding the fact it's been a bit of a nightmare. But we have ported all of our code from 2012 through to 365 now. We're part of the TAP program. Okay, we're heavily embedded with Microsoft. They're liking what we're doing. We're one of the first, as far as we know, output management solutions that have done this in terms of the amount of integration that we've got. We will soon be available on AppSource as well. Okay, so we're going to put up our software up on there so people will be able to download it instantly as well. Obviously, there's training configuration, etc., but it will be available up on there. Just to show you that it's exactly the same process, if I go into here, accounts receivable, I go into my sales orders just as I did a moment ago. I want to generate a pro forma confirmation. Again, if I just show you quickly in here, we can see the two elements are still listed there, exactly the same as they would before. Click OK, and away it goes, and it will generate me a PDF file back on the screen exactly as it did before. Okay. So we're doing exactly the same process in exactly the same way. The admin is all the same. The functionality is the same. The ability to add new fields to a document that I just showed you a second ago, exactly the same. Okay, so it's exactly the same process. If you decide today to go with our software on 2009 or 2012, we have an import-export routine to move it to 365 as well. And we are also, all of the documents you've designed are obviously going to stay the same because the LaserNet solution, as we just said, is actually external to AX, really. Okay? Yeah. Any other questions? Oh, the one last thing on this. I mentioned it, I think, at the very beginning. There's one problem. Anybody that moves to 365 for operations and tries to click on print will probably have quite a big problem, because to try and get a print from a cloud to a printer that's sat here right next to me is not as easy as everybody thinks. We've actually solved that problem. We've removed that problem. We've been able to generate a little bit of software that allows us, that does have to be loaded locally on the customer site, just on a server, anywhere. Okay, and what it does is it allows us to print to any printer across that network, but also get the printers from the network back to the cloud. If you've got 400 printers in your organization, I'm quite sure you don't want to be typing them all in. IP address, name, driver, We can get all that information straight back into AX, and it dynamically updates as we're going along. Okay, so it's a massive problem that Microsoft have that we've solved because we've been doing this a few years, I think is probably the answer. And I think with that, I think I'm well ahead of time, aren't I? No, not too bad. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, anybody wants to talk to me afterwards, no problems. But I thank you for your time, and I hope it was interesting. Thank you.
Við þökkum Skúla og Mike kærlega fyrir þeirra framlag. Við verðum nú hérna á svona svæðinu smá tíma ef einhver vill stoppa og spyrja. En svo langar mér að þakka Þorvaldi tæknimanni líka, bara svona einu sinni, maðurinn bak við tjöldin sem sér þetta gangi allt saman. Og ég held að það sé einhverjir hérna í skýinu uppi eða á netinu sem að hlusta á okkur hérna á landsbyggðinni. Þannig að við þökkum þeim líka kærlega fyrir komuna. Takk kærlega fyrir komuna. Takk.